Hi, my name is Karen Griffis, and I would like to share with you a testimony where the Lord called me and He said, I want to be your everything. So I was in Mississippi at the time, and I was going through a really difficult time in my life. I was going through troubles in my marriage, and I remembered, thinking to myself, well, if I'm no longer married, then I can find somebody that will love me. And so these were my plans in my head, that I'm going to find somebody who's going to love me. The Lord spoke to me in my living room, and I cannot say it was an audible voice, but it was an all-knowing, understanding voice. And what He said, I want to be your everything. And when I heard that, I knew exactly what it meant. It was almost like everything that it meant, I understood in one moment. And I would like to say that I was excited to hear God's voice, but actually I just fell to the floor and said, no, because I knew what it meant. And I knew what God meant is that He wanted me to look to Him for everything. But at the time, I was looking at my marriage, someone that would love me, my children, my family. And I was hoping that everything would get fixed in that way. And so when I heard, I want to be your everything, it really just scared me so much. So it was really about a week later that the Lord said, I want you to minister from one end of the earth to the other. So I was really surprised that God would even say something like that to me, because at the time, I have to say, I knew the Lord, but I would not say that I was reading the Bible all the time, or that I even knew many Bible verses. And I remembered questioning God, like me, you want me to minister? But I knew that's what the Lord had said. So I knew it was important for me to learn all that I could. And so that a year had gone by, and I have to say that God said, I want to be your everything, but during that year, God ended up being my everything. So if I needed a friend, it didn't matter what time of night it was, I could call to Jesus and He was there. It didn't matter if it was 2 o'clock in the morning, He was there. I needed big counseling. He was my greatest counselor. He gave me the best advice. He was my greatest guide. He became the best father I could ever ask for. You name someone that's everything to you, and that's what Jesus became to me. And it was about a year later, and I was in Okinawa, and I hadn't forgotten what the Lord had said, but I was talking to the Lord about not just feeling, worthy, but when I said that, I felt the Lord said, you are my everything. And the minute that He said that, the same reaction happened, but it was complete joy this time, because I reflected back on that year and I realized He was my everything. He always was. I just recognized it. And I couldn't have asked for more. I didn't get a new husband, but what I got was the best relationship with Jesus I could have ever asked for. So that was the sweetest thing God could have ever said. And it took me a little while to understand that. But I realized that's how He feels about everybody. He wants everybody to see him as his everything. And he looks at us like we're his everything. He looks at other people like they're his everything. And I knew that when God was on the cross, he thought of me. He actually thought of me. But he thinks of everybody that same way. So that's kind of what started me on my just that true, deep relationship with the Lord, where I asked him for everything. So, yeah, I would love for you to come to the church that I go to. It's called Sound of Praise. It's an international church. And what I love about it is that I can feel God's presence all the time, especially with the fellowship of believers. So that's another story, how the Lord led me to this church. But I hope that this has let you know that God cares about you, and that you are somebody, and his ways are sometimes higher than our ways, but they're much better than we could ever plan out for ourselves.